Can you say Christmas came 2 weeks late? I can, because look what I just got. It is my Zero Press, and I am really excited. So let me just give you a quick backstory. A couple months ago, Craig from Area 419 gave me a call, said, "Hey John, I know you've seen that we're doing this press. How would you like to play with the one?" I said, "Well, yeah, of course." And he goes, "Great, we'll send one out, let you borrow it, do a review on it, see what you think, please be honest." And I said, "Okay, I'm happy to do that, but let me preface by saying I've never loaded on a turret. I've almost never loaded on a rock chucker. I've only used coaxes and Dillons to load precision ammo." And he goes, "Great." He goes, "If anything, you're going to be even more unbiased about it because you don't have any reason to love it." And I said, "No, I really don't, because I love shooting on my Dillon." And he said, "Great, as soon as we have one ready, we'll send it out to you." And I said, "Okay." And it's been a couple months now, and over those couple months, I don't know, I've gotten more and more excited. I've started thinking, okay, could this be my Dillon replacement? As much as I love my Dillon and all of its accoutrements, like the bullet feeder and the case feeder and the auto drive and all that stuff, admittedly it is expensive, and it's a lot to maintain. And I've always thought to myself, hey, if there was something, could this be it? So let's take a look at it. It comes in a gorgeous little box that I showed you. It is, just really, really well made. I've seen probably all the same unboxing videos that you guys have seen. I didn't figure I needed to subject you to another unboxing, so here are the parts that were in it. But it is, to be fair, it is better in person than I ever imagined. I thought that the videos or whatever people were doing, I figured, well, they're good, but, and I know Area 419's reputation because I own a lot of their stuff, but this thing is just sexy as hell. You do get the torque wrench, which we will use in a little bit. You get the handle, which I'm really liking this handle. Really, really like the feel on it. I can't wait to actually load with it. And then, of course, there's some mounting hardware. Now, I probably will not be using the mounting hardware because, as I've shown you in another video, I have the upgraded stand for it. So I got this, a couple months ago. And I am going to get that mounted up to my bench. We're going to get the Zero Press mounted to this. Let's get in here. Let's have a first look at the Area 419 Zero Press. Now, this was sent to me as a loaner, just to play with and to give some feedback and do whatever I wanted with it. So I'm making some videos with it. If I want to keep it, I do have to pay for it. However, it is a pretty amazing machine out of the box. Now, I have a pretty good history with Area 419. I don't use any of their PRS stuff, like their brakes and their ARCA rails and stuff like that, but I have used nearly every product they've made for the auto trickler and other things like that. And I've always been impressed with their machining. Now, they have gone above and beyond what a lot of machine shops do. They have invested a ton of capital into really good machines. And in fact, I think they just went from really good machines to really great machines recently. And it shows on the machine. Out of the box, the thing is, it's just velvety smooth. Like, every part of it is velvety smooth. I mean, everything from just each individual part to the finish to the way it operates. I was sort of expecting it to be, I don't know, I thought maybe it was a little bit of hype, right? Because I've seen a few other review videos and everybody got really excited about it, and I've been waiting for mine for a couple months now. And as I've been waiting for it, obviously you guys have seen that I use a Dillon 750 for my reloading. But as I've been waiting a couple months, I keep asking myself, is this probably a better press for what I do, or do I stick with the Dillon? And that's really probably what makes this something that I really enjoy reviewing, is that I really don't have a bias towards it. It's not like it's an accessory for something I've already used. It's not it's totally out of my wheelhouse. I've never used a turret press. I've only used like coax presses and chuckers and Dillons, and I've never used a turret style press, so I didn't know what to expect from the feel of that. And then this is, obviously a turret press on, nitro. So I don't know. So far, I absolutely love it. I've done an initial setup with my dies. So I'll kind of take you around. Let's just start at station 1. Station 1 is my decapper. And also, let me back up and just tell you that so far, I have been able to put on not only every die that was on my brass prep tool head for the Dillon, but also my bullet seating, or my finishing die as I usually call it, or finishing tool head. So I put literally every die that was on there plus about another 3 or 4 or something. So we have a decapper, we have our sizer, we have expanding gauge pin 1 and expanding gauge pin 2. Just for fun, I threw on my Mr. Bullet feeder. I have my bullet seater. I have a bullet puller. And then we have a priming system. This happens to be the Lee Ram primer, I believe it's called, or yeah, something like that. Because there is no integrated priming system on the area on the Zero. And so I wanted to find a way to do it. So I picked up one of these, and so far that's been working great, and I'll talk more about that later or on another video. And then I have my bullet pointing die. So I have literally everything on this turret press that I've ever used or ever use, either periodically or weekly when I'm loading. And it's made it a very interesting experience, because as somebody who does not or has not used a turret press before, I wasn't sure how to approach them. I've obviously seen them used, and I'm familiar with the concept, but I think a lot of people look at it and say, well, I'm going to use it one of two ways. I'm either going to leave a piece of brass in, and then I'm going to, decap and then size and then maybe expand if that's what I'm going to do, and then take the piece of brass out. Or there's the people that say, well, what I'm going to do is take all 100 pieces, run it through my decapper, then go over here and do that. I will tell you that I know guys who do that process on like a Redding turret press, and I think it works for some of those guys because there is no way to truly lock down the head on a T7, for instance. What I have found is this press, because of how it's designed, really deserves to be used the way that they designed it. And again, this is just a weekend playing with it, but over here you have your lock mechanism for the actual tool head here. And if you listen, it gets tight, and then listen. Okay, so this is a torque wrench, 10 nanometer torque wrench, and now I cannot move this. And I will tell you that every bit of my tolerances went from great to amazing when I tightened this thing up. Sure, it can be done when it's in a moving position, but there is a certain amount of deflection that's just inherent to the fact that it has to be able to move. And it's incredibly minor in terms of the deflection. But once you lock this thing down, and you don't even have to go till the torque wrench hits, it's a wedge-based system. So as long as you get that mechanism to wedge in there, it ain't going to move. There's no deflection at that point. So you could, kind of go in and out. You could go to, setting 1, use it, turn it, lock it down, because see how it doesn't turn. Do your mechanism, go to setting 2, do it. I just don't think that's how this press is going to want to be used. I've found so far it really likes when you use it the way it's designed, which is to lock it down, use a particular station, process your brass through it, unlock it, and then move it to the next station, lock it back down, and then start moving again with it. So that's just my initial thoughts on which of those two methods. And I know the majority of people who use a turret press are going to use it one station at a time. I'm just throwing that out there because people have asked me ahead of time what I think of the two different process possibilities. So let me show you a couple other accessories that I have to play with. I have their new die rings, and these are actually really cool. So over here you can see on my seating die I have one, And the way they're designed is it's threaded for standard 7/8 14 down the middle, so it fits any normal die, but it gives you a really big surface area compared to, you know, even like these Forster rings are really big. These things dwarf a Forster ring. In fact, let me show you here. So if I take a Forster ring and hold it up, you can see how much more meat, if you look, how much more meat there is on these die rings, and they're really stout. They're thick, they're heavy. And the way they work is instead of trying to, you know, monkey with some kind of a cross-lock system, which, you know, to be fair, has been the best thing out there so far, or a cross-bolt system or something like that, the way these are designed is they're just straight designed to be cinched down utilizing a special wrench they have, which, you know, fits the inside of the die ring. So all you do is just reach in here and get it tightened down. I've got this other ring on here, which is in the way right now. But if I were to come up a little bit, you can see how this comes in, and it just lets you really tighten this thing down, and it locks this really into place. Which brings up the next question I've gotten a lot, because everybody knows that, or at least people I shoot with, know that I load on a Dillon using a lot of free-floating dies. So they said, oh, are you free-floating dies on your Zero? And my answer is no, because the press isn't designed to have variants introduced into it. Everything I've talked to them about and read about indicates that this is designed to be a locked, tight system, meaning the turret head needs to be locked down, your dies need to be locked down, and so in fairness to how it was designed, that is how I've been utilizing it, and I've actually had really good success. I'm getting really good numbers so far. I'm really liking how it works, and these dies have been fun to play with. I'm trying to figure out at this point where I put my second one. I'm probably just going to order a bunch of them and put them on all of them. Because I really do love these things compared to a normal die ring. So let me tell you about another accessory. So here's the other thing that I ordered. Now I put a magnet here to hold it. That doesn't come with it. But they have a flat, kind of an anvil plate that you can install over here instead of your shell holder. Okay, so this gives you sort of an arbor press feel, if you will, for different, oops, had it upside down, for different processes. I've already used it to do some bullet tipping, works great. I actually use it for the priming process that I have. So right now I've got this priming setup, and it utilizes a ram setup, so I can just set that flat here and go ahead and use my priming system. And it's been fun to play with. I think it really gives it a sort of a your choice situation on some of the processes, like seating bullets, bullet tipping, you know, maybe a few other things, decapping if you wanted to. Oh no, I'm sorry, decapping you have to use this because it's going to go out the middle. But I have used it for bullet pointing, and I have used it for seating bullets, and it's worked great, and for priming. As far as the actual shell holder goes, just make sure you're using one with a good stem on it, and then it has this little C-lock that goes into it, and then that fits very securely into this. And what's down in here, it's slightly beveled, and there's an O-ring down in the bottom that is going to impact that. And it doesn't prevent it from moving, but what it does is it gives it a very secure yet slightly movable surface. So your shell holder is not going to be moving around on its own like you see on some things. And again, it just works great. It lets me angle, because I'm coming in from about 7 o'clock with my brass. I can just angle it that way, and it stays in place very nicely. I've used several different brands of shell holders so far. They all seem to work great. I think that one's a Redding. I've used RCBS, and I have a, shoot, I can't remember what the other one is. But I've used 3 different brands of shell holders with 0 issues there. The handle itself, this T-wrench, again, goes down onto the handle. You can lengthen the length of pull on your actual handle here. So I've got maybe 6 inches. I know it's hard to see with my camera here. Let me see if I can bring it down a little bit. So you can see down here is the tip of the handle. So I've got maybe 6-7 inches down there of handle. This fits, and it gives you a really good way to compensate for either a height issue or, you know, how long your arms are or how tall you are. And then the handle itself, let me come back up here. The handle itself can do a couple things. One, it can spin freely if that's what you want. Or, let me find... so I like it spinning. I found that to be very comfortable. However, it does have a detent in there. So if you want to, you can lock it down so it's firm as well. And I do like the ability to choose between those two so far. And I think having that rotating ball is really nice. And there's also kind of an in-between where it's got a little bit of play in it. And, you know, in all honesty, I don't know exactly how many positions they planned on this thing being used in, but I have found 3 different ways that it can be used, and they all have, you know, kind of a pro and con depending on what you like doing. The one thing that I will say, and I've had some people ask, is where's the flex in this press? You know, like every press has some flex, whether it's in the frame or the handle or whatever. I jokingly told somebody this is the Chuck Norris press. The press doesn't flex on the bench flexes under the press. And I found that to be true so far. There is, I mean, I have yet to find a way to get or introduce any amount of flex within limit, you know, like even without limits. I mean, I haven't gone like hanging hundreds of pounds on this thing, but within my normal range of trying to push on it, down, up, sideways, it doesn't flex. I'm probably going to actually have to upgrade my bench because of this, because now I realize that this bench has a little too much flex in it, and it's actually what's moving when you see this. When you see it moving, that's my entire bench flexing under the press, not the press flexing. So I know there's a sort of a scattered initial thoughts, but I've had a lot of people saying, hey, I can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. Let me get loaded on it a few more times. Let me get you guys some examples of what it's producing for me in terms of accuracy, and I will get you guys another video out. So we'll go from there. Have a good one.